Howdy folks, TJ here. Coming here to learn about MorphOS you are, I bet, right? Well, this is a little bit different. I'm not a MorphOS teacher. I'm not a guru with MorphOS. I'm a bloke probably like you, or a bloke-ess if you're a lady, that is interested in learning about MorphOS, and we're going to do it together. Kind of like my videos where I think of it as like a camera over my back and we're together sitting in front of a computer learning about it. That's the way that I tend to learn, teach, make video about it, and we do it together. So I thought for issue number 1, or volume number 1, video number 1, however you want to think about it, we're going to explore MorphOS together. I've already made one video recently about why MorphOS? Why do I have my X5000 booting into multiple operating systems? And showing you it booting and getting into MorphOS and kind of jumping around and just kind of showing you, teasing you a little bit, what does it look like? Well, now it's time to actually jump in, because once I typically turn something on for the first time, I, without reading too much, gloss over things to kind of say, oh, this looks neat. What's this? What's this thing mean? And then later, I come back and say, okay, I looked at that before. What exactly does that thing do? What's this program do? So we're going to do those things together in a series of videos about MorphOS. In my case, this is MorphOS 3.19 on a AmigaOne X5000 computer. So it's a little bit different. The odds are highly that there's many more licenses on Macs that happen to run MorphOS versus an AmigaOne X5000. But there are some of us out there that have this very cool AmigaOS computer, and it's beautiful that we can run an alternative or a secondary operating system. And MorphOS has always caught my eye. Actually, like I said, I've owned a license of it before, and I played around with it on an old Mac Mini. Ended up selling that, but now I've got a much more powerful AmigaOne X5000 that we're going to explore together. On the screen right now is one of its built-in screensavers. It's got a whole bunch of morphs. A morph is a butterfly, I guess. You know, you Google things, but it's a butterfly. And it's just on the screen, kind of like the old toaster screensaver. It's got these butterflies flying from this direction down. I noticed that on this program, it harps on this diagonal right here. Most of them are down here. Once in a while, you get a flagrant one hopping around up on the top, but most of them, there's one. You finally got one up on the top, but you don't see too many up there. But we're going to wake up the screen, focus in on it, and we're going to look at some things together. We're going to go to a couple of Morph websites that I think are important for me and for you if you're going to be exploring this to read in more detail when you like to. Again, my method of operation is I read about it a bit. Do I want it? Yes, I want it. Buy it, install it, quickly make sure it launches and runs, peek around, and then study up and learn the intricacies about something. And when you're making a video, again, my videos are, you're with me. You've come over to my house and we're going to learn together. So let me wake up the screen, we'll focus in, and we're going to play a little MorphOS today. I've got the dogs in the house, by the way, so if they get triggered by something outside, they may start barking, but that's the way life goes, and you'll hear some natural, like if you were over my house, if the dogs start barking, that's what's happening. So I'm going to move in here a little bit. I'm going to enlarge the screen and focus in. You're going to see less of me. You're going to probably just see the side of my head, which I think is okay. You'll know that I'm here. You'll see my beard periodically pop in. But I want to show you as much of the screen as I can and focus in on the screen as well so it's a little bit crisper. It won't look like a good HDMI where you connect it to a little recording device and all that jazz, but I don't do those things. Again, you're just over my house and we're playing together. So MorphOS, the desktop comes pretty, but it definitely, things that you recognize right away, at least where's the dock? There's no dock. Well, it's not called a dock in MorphOS. I think it's called a panel. So we need to spruce things up. So my initial videos will be about sprucing things up to the way I like it. not the way they liked it. This is, Burger King, I want it my way. So we're going to set up some type of, I guess they still call it a dock, but it's not a dock, it's a panel, and you can build onto this panel. And so we're going to explore that. So where do I learn about, where did I figure out that the word is panel and not dock? Well, let's look at some things. So right now, right away, me just using this, I can't quickly launch something other than up here, like I showed you the other day. I could click on this and go and select a program that I want to launch. In this case, I want to go to my web browser. So I'm going to bring up Wayfarer. And then I'm going to make sure and peek again at my thing to make sure it's coming in well enough. I kind of want to have some of the ambiance of you being over here at my house. Us looking together. Let me kind of shrink things up a little bit. There'll be a little fine tuning here. I don't think I ever did I turn the light off behind me? I think I did. I had it all set up, but I think that's clear enough. And we'll be reading things together. So Morph main website is MorphOS -team.net. And you're greeted with a big old butterfly, and it's got the original place where it welcomes you, it downloads, and support. This kind of gives you into the nitty-gritty of things, and there's a home, an overview of features, help desk, downloads, and about us. So I've already downloaded. I don't need support today, but I want to also, this page is the welcome screen. We're going to move our eyes up to overview because there's some good stuff in here that I kind of, when I did my quick exploration the other day, I was reading off some names and things and saying, well, maybe that's what that is. Maybe it's not. So let's first of all say, what the heck is MorphOS? I told you what my thoughts were and what I think I read, but experience the natural beauty of resource efficiency. MorphOS is a lightweight, highly efficient, and flexible desktop operating system. It includes primarily proprietary as well as open source components. Its many features range from modern, exceptionally customizable graphic user interface, which can utilize 3D hardware acceleration, to a high-performance, just-in-time compiler that emulates the 68K family of processors and thereby allows to transparently execute legacy applications developed for the Commodore AX00 series of computers. You will find a selection of core components described below. And then it gives you some links of hardware compatibility. It's compatible with a lot of old Macs, G4s and G5s. And then, of course, there's some computers back in the day that were built specifically to run MorphOS. I don't have any of those, so we won't talk about them. But it also does discuss the AmigaOne X5000. The user desktop is ambient. And I kept playing around the other day saying it's ambient. Ambient is a native graphical shell of MorphOS. As its name suggests, a metaphor of an abstract environment is used rather than a traditional desktop, which is often specifically associated with business and work. I think it's just a different name for the same thing. That's my opinion. It's a desktop. I think majority of people just have that desktop word in their minds. But if you want to think of it as a metaphor of an abstract environment, go for it. That's what's wonderful. We all have our things. And then it gives you all of these things. I don't need to rip them all off to you, but you'll see it's fully asynchronous, multi-threaded design, 64-bit arithmetic, or arithmetic. Big words, a lot of them. There's a whole bunch of stuff. Read it for yourself. But ambient is your place, your portal, if you will. That's my word, into the world of MorphOS and how you move the cursor around and click on things and get the things that you can visually enjoy. Then it talks about 3D graphics, TinyGL. These are more intricacy things that maybe you care about, maybe you don't. But if you want to read up on them, go to the MorphOS website, and it talks about all these words like stencil buffers and vertex arrays. You know, that's for nerds. I'm a nerd, but I'm not that nerd. I'm a nerd that goes fly fishing. I'm a nerd that does mechanical things in Volkswagen air-cooled old buses. and I play with computers, but I don't do vertex arrays. I may be doing them, but I don't know I'm doing them, and I don't care that I'm doing them. I just want to play with a dang computer. That's my thing. But it tells you that for the more scientific of us that are wanting to learn MorphOS. And then there's a GOA. This is the first time I've read this word. GOA. GOA is included with MorphOS for compatibility reasons and represents a re-implementation of Warp 3D library. Now, I've heard that word before, Warp 3D, so that's cool. It's GOA. You're going to GOA someplace. There you go, Warp 3D. That's a key word that you can associate with GOA. But read all the instructions if you want to on the intricacies of it, if you're the type of nerd that wants to know those things. Me? No. External devices, Poseidon USB. The Poseidon USB stack is a software solution that unleashes the possibilities of universal serial bus USB and devices with USB interface. Now, I would like to know, and it doesn't say here, is this USB 1? 2, 3? Is it compatible with them all? My AmigaOne OS, AmigaOne X5000 is on the Amiga side of the world only able to do USB 2. Even if I purchased a USB 3 card, I don't think it can handle it. Now, if I slap a USB 3 card in here, is MorphOS smart enough to understand USB 3 and harness that extra speed? You tell me if you're watching this. I will ask that eventually, but see, it doesn't say it here. So that's where my nerd ability comes in. I'll say, USB, what level of USB? Because to tell you the truth, it kind of sucks when you're on Amiga OS side and you've only got the speed of USB 2. It's like pulling teeth. You wait, and you wait, and then you wait some more. So if it had 3 capabilities, that would be a leap up in terms of, wow, cool. Maybe I need to buy a PCI card that adds USB 3, and I can harness that with MorphOS. So we'll find that out together. So Poseidon, USB. Try to remember those two names together. A reggae, media streaming. Now that one makes sense. Reggae is music, and media is music. So reggae is the new approach to media stream processing in the MorphOS. I won't read beyond that, but obviously reggae and streaming and you're playing with media, reggae is what they call it here. Cool? All right. It talks about images and what's supported. PNGs, JPEGs, BMPs, gives you all the names of things. Audio, you've got MP3, which obviously everybody in my age bracket knows what an MP3 is, and everybody was on LimeWire or other programs of the time downloading, I'm going to sneeze, MP3s. Data sources, file, memory, and HTTP. Okay, cool. The GUI toolkit, MUI. Now, again, I talked about this last time. I find it funny. You got GUI and MUI. and it seems to me that it is a different way to do the same thing, and they call it the MUI. Basically, MUI is a collection of libraries which allows programmers to easily create and maintain graphical user interfaces. Besides, from a few very simple approaches, MUI was the first tool of this category to go completely new and object-oriented way. So, what I still find fascinating is up under settings, you got ambient MUI, and then you got MUI. Again, it confuses, I think. If they just blend the two together, if there's a technical reason, no, you can't do that, okay. But to me, you just put all the movies together and regular system stuff in one area. I think it would make sense to the commoner, but maybe their focus is not for the common man like me, like you. Maybe it's just for Amiga Commodore nerds, and they know what the GUIs and the movies and all that stuff is. So anyway, let's move on. Skinning. So in contrast to many mainstream operating systems, the technical design of MorphOS was based on the modern concept of individualized user interface. So basically you can skin, and this will be something to make it mine, you can skin this to make it a whole different fun appearance. Appearance, there we go. I don't edit, I don't script, I go with it and I correct myself as I go. And then if I find something I didn't correct, I may put a note down in the description below saying, oh, I said this word, but I really meant this word. You get the picture? Picture? Skinning, so you can skin it. So cool. So that's their take on the overview of things. But now let's look at the features. Is there some feature stuff in here that we want to talk about in more discussion? Yeah, there's some things in here that we want to cover. So click on features when you can. There's Quark. If at my age, Quark Express was a wonderful desktop publishing application on the good old Macs. But in the world of MorphOS, it's a fix the Mac address reading undo. They're talking about corrections here in 3.19. Prefer the loader supplied CPU frequency if available. So this is technical jargon. They added some DOS, Intuition, Marvel, DMA, Poseidon, RAM disk, and USB. So 3.19 gave us some new fixes, additions, however you want to take it. So there's not much on this page. It looks like some disk changes, all the pretty icons. Here's where some more stuff, applications. Remember when I used the word Flacapella the other day? Well, they've added some new capabilities to Flacapella, Hex, Jalapeno, and so on. So this is a page of updates, it appears. So I'm going to just scroll through the rest of this. It's cool to know that they've done all these things, but again, unless your nerdy side really needs to know this, it's not something I care about unless there was a specific feature I wanted to know that they've corrected or fixed or whatever. Then I may poke my head in here. So that's that. I think we're probably done. By the way, there is a help desk. So if you click on help desk, it does show you that you can email the team with questions. But I would recommend going to a website called MorphZone. Let's see if we can click on the plus button. There's the plus button in here. Yeah. And let's go to a MorphZone. Let's find it. DuckDuckGo, I think, is what they're using for. Did I not type in here just now? I thought I was. What was I typing? Remind me. MorphZone. There's an MorphZone. MorphZone. Return. DuckDuckGo. There we go. It's thinking. It's coming up with. And we're going to find the MorphZone website. MorphZone. So I've been on this for ages because I've been interested in MorphOS. I've posted questions in here. I think this is a great place to hang out, to ask questions, to search on older threads that may be of interest to you. So definitely join the MorphZone. There's an email system in here as well that you can message people of importance that you may want to private message. So join MorphZone, and also Discord. If on your main, I don't know if there's a Discord app on AmigaOS that I haven't figured out yet or explored. AmigaOS, MorphOS. See how I corrected myself there? On your regular PC or whatever, go to Discord, and there is actually a great Discord that's got a MorphOS thread. So it's a great place to also post there as well, because some of the developers may be hanging out there. But to me, this one's the most user-friendly. A lot of people don't Discord. Some do, some don't. But many of us know what a forum is. So join the Morph forum. And now, in Wayfair, I've created some bookmarks. And the first one, I found a place, first steps using MorphOS. Well, that's what we're doing today. We're doing some first steps. And so this was sponsored by MorphZone, and I found it on there, and it talks about booting MorphOS for the first time, interacting with your system. And I just quickly perused this, and what we're going to end this video with, because I'm not going to go through each and every one of these. You're going to do that. But I wanted to learn today dock. Where is there a dock in here? No, it's called a panel. So let's go find panels. Introducing ambient, and it talks about the desktop and snapshotting. If you're from the world of Mac, you don't snapshot diddly squat. But if you're an Amigan, you snapshot your screens to where they come up the way they did before, the way you like them. On Mac OS, it just remembers your window the last way you set it. But on this, you can change things around, and you snapshot it as you're departing, so it remembers for the next time. That's what snapshot basically to me is. But panels, let's go click on panels. Panels, section needs redoing, it says. But hopefully this gives me enough nitty-gritty to learn. Section needs redoing since MorphOS icon can't, or since my MorphOS icon can't be dragged into the panels. Grrr. So has that been corrected since 3.19? I don't know. Another way to keep icons ordered on the desktop is by using ambience panels. Let's create a panel, and that's what we're going to do today. Let me make sure again that this is focused in well enough. I think it is for this exercise. Again, we're just playing here. You're going to be doing this yourself. But it says user action, RMB on desktop, settings, ambiance. So it's telling me I'm going to go up to right click and go to settings down to ambient. And it brings up this big window. Okay. And I even see that it says panels because I went and found it earlier. I'm on panels. So what does it tell me to do next? It says select panels in the first on the list on the left side, which I've done. Click the new panel button to create a panel. Click save to close ambient preferences and save the new panel. Currently, the panel contains no icons, just an arrow in the box. This is the drag gadget, which, as the name suggests, is used to drag the panel into a desired position. So let's go ahead and bring this up to the forefront. We're going to click on new panel. I'm guessing I'm going to need to name it. It's got this little cursor thing here, this little arrow thing. It says new panel. And down here, I'm going to click on this and change it to a name. So we're going to call this one main, because I'm going to probably have a main panel down at the bottom. I'm going to have a communication panel over on the right, which does my internet kind of things, reaching to the outside world kind of thing. So let's call this one main. M-A-I-N, main. We're going to stick with all the default stuff that it offers because I have no idea what that means, but we're going to click on save. And here's this little thing now. I don't know if you, and I'm clicking and I'm dragging. I'm going to want this one down at the bottom. Let's shrink up this window a little bit. And we're going to move this over here. Because what this tells me is when I click on this little arrow down here, it's going to open up accordion to probably this left side. When you click it, it goes. Now let's continue reading. User action. Drag your My MorphOS icon from the desktop onto the drag gadget of your new panel. A copy of My MorphOS icon now appears on the panel. You know, I don't really need. I'm going to keep this one up here for now. I don't want it in here twice. I want Wayfarer in here for now. I want that one in here. So we're going to move it, and I can play around with these later. So let's go find Wayfarer. It's in the applications folder, and it's in here. And here's the icon. So I'm going to just drag it in there, and I put it to this other side. Interesting. So zip. Okay, so it opens that direction. Okay, cool. Now, could I have put it on the other side? I thought I just dropped it on top. So that's what it looks like. So this little thing over, it might be more appropriate here because if I want to zip and have it cleared out and then zip to open it back up. But let's test it. I single clicked on it and MorphOS was already running, so it just brought up my instance of it. Let's read this and then we'll close it and relaunch it. User action. And click on My MorphOS icon on the panel. It opens the location with a single click. Ambience panels provide a single-click method of opening locations, applications, files, etc., as well as other more advanced features not covered here. Shortcuts, as we don't want to have shortcuts part of this panels thing, I guess so, as we don't want to have to navigate to every file from the top level of the drive each time. Another icon of which the desktop supports shortcuts is a location or file. Commonly used application is Odyssey, MorphOS. So yeah, this is old. If it's saying the word Odyssey still, and Wayfarer has been out, so I can see, yeah, unless you want an alternative older browser, I guess. And it talks about more user actions. Let's see if any of these pertain. Double click on the system volume, double click on the applications drawer, then drop down. Okay, it's all about the OWB still. User action, user action. No, I think we're good. No, file browsing. Let's read this. In the section above, we touched upon file browsing. We opened a volume, navigated into a drawer, and then into another drawer to access a file. In order to navigate effectively, we need to recognize some landmarks, So at this point, there are a few basic. You know what? I don't want this in my... The dock at this point, I'm sure some people will like this capability. I'm not prepared for it today. I want the dock strictly for launching needed applications quickly. That's all I want it for. If I'm going to be doing file manipulation or other things, I'm going to just go up and do it manually. That's just my MO. Maybe later I'll come back and read this, but just because it's an option doesn't mean you have to use it. It's your ambient. See, I didn't call it desktop. How about that? So cool. Let's go ahead and quit out of this, and it's going to quit it. And we're going to end this video with launching Wayfarer from the panel that I've learned how to do. And then maybe next video we'll do something new. So single click, Wayfarer is launching. And now I have it up and running. Very cool. Okay, so bookmark some places. So again, MorphOS, the main website, which is MorphOS-team.net. And then you've got MorphZone. I recommend going to that as well. Create an account, ask questions, learn. There's lots of README stuff. So in MorphOS, I bookmarked a number of things. So I've already been playing with Wayfarer some. But there's a MorphOS library, which is the main library. And through that, I found First Steps. And so I bookmarked it. I wanted to go right there. And then there's fundamentals of MorphOS. There's also these other things that you can learn from these few websites. You know, there are some docs on your MorphOS. So remember that in your MorphOS, you've got all of these docs. Some of them are, you know, I didn't read or find one yet that said MorphOS user manual. You know, like BOS, they had one on the desktop when you first installed BOS, and I think even Haiku. It's basically an HTML document, but you click on it, it was the whole user guide. I would think that would be a cool idea to have that launch on the desktop. I read through all these, and none of these tell me that it's the MorphOS user manual. Maybe it's hidden in here someplace, but I don't see it. There's MorphOS dev, PDF, a mode edit, licenses, important, but that was all, it wasn't, and a booting, it wasn't the full user manual. Maybe there's not one, or maybe there is, and I haven't found it yet. When I find it, I'll let you know. But meanwhile, if you own an AmigaOne X5000, dual boot is your friend. If you don't, and you're using old G4, G5 Power Mac from Apple, there's a good chance it may be able to run MorphOS. And you might want to freely download their free version that times out after 30 minutes to see if it's something you want to play with. And if it is, pay for the license. It's roughly about $100 US at today's current Euro versus US pricing. And from my AmigaOne, just Wayfarer alone, it is a much better browser. And again, the other day when I made my first video, it's not up to speed in terms of my much more powerful computers that I have here at the home. But when I play with Amiga, I like to use MorphOS or AmigaOS. And so having a good browser that I can now, since I created a panel for the first time, I can click on it, launch it, go to and download, say, a game that will work under MorphOS, because MorphOS is supposed to play with the proper stuff, older games from the Amiga days. That's something we'll also explore together. But today, this is it. It's a long video. Next time, let's change the pattern of this desktop. This blue is kind of boring. Boring, blue, boring. We want to spark it up and have something going on. So we'll figure out maybe how to load up a picture. Maybe we'll learn how to skin together. That didn't sound good. So thanks for watching the video. Hopefully you found this fun. And you take it easy. Bye.